I had a pretty helpful shift in perspective today. If I want to work for myself in the future, then I got to be okay working for myself right now. What does that mean? When I wake up in the morning and I have 5 things on the to-do list, right? And it's create a podcast logo, or it's build these tables, or whatever it is, right? I got to be okay with the fact that those tasks, if I've deemed them valuable, are valuable, that I'm building my future by doing these things, right? It's a weird shift, because if you have a set of things that you should be doing for your job, you show up, you do those things, and then you know you've done the job well. When you're defining your own role, you don't know. You just go into it and then you figure out like, okay, well, this is probably what I should be doing. And then you do those things and you hope that there's some type of result. And then even if there's not, you've got to keep doing them until there is a result, because you work for yourself. And so then, yeah, it's just an interesting perspective. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to wake up and work today on the things that I deem are valuable. And that should be enough for me, right? I don't know how to describe it. I should always be wanting more. I should always be wanting to do the things that are right and moving towards only doing the best things available to me right now, not doing the things that, won't serve me well 5 years down the road. But the shift in perspective that I had kind of changed everything from being menial tasks that I'm doing to actual valuable things that are moving me towards the future that I want to have, right? So even though I'm choosing to do these things, they're on my to-do list, even though I'm the one who came up with them, they can still be valuable. They can still, and hopefully I'm only doing the ones that are actually valuable, right? Just an interesting perspective, change of perspective. And so then moving forward, I got to get really clear on, if I want the conviction that the things that I'm doing on a daily basis are going to move me towards where I want to go, I got to take the time to understand, where do I want to go and what are the steps that will get me there. And it all comes back, because that's what I've been talking about, right? You have to get super clear on the vision, exactly what it's going to take to get there. Then every single day you have the conviction. You know that the tasks that you're doing on the day-to-day, the tasks that you'll do today, are building towards your future. And that's all you want to know, is that you're actually doing meaningful work today, right? So what are those tasks? They're ones that are necessary, and most of the time they're not that urgent. You don't want to do something when it's urgent. You want to do things before they're due, right? So then maybe you're used to the things that you do being the things that are done late, if that makes sense. Because usually we procrastinate on the things for us and we deliver on the things for other people. Well, you got to reframe that. You can't add importance to the tasks that are due once you've procrastinated them. You have to get ahead of the schedule and know that, okay, I'll do these things because they're valuable, and this is how business is done, right? No matter, even though I'm working for myself, I'm making this podcast logo for myself, there's no deadline. I just have to impose that on myself and say, I need this done by Friday. That way I can get it printed out and put up on the wall and start recording podcast episodes, Anyways, I made some pretty big progress today on a couple things that, honestly, if I look back on the day and ask myself, like, was this meaningful? Was this, significant? That's a great word for this. Were the actions that I took today significant on the path that I want to achieve in this life? And if looking back, it doesn't feel like they were, because I'm used to the significant actions being massive actions or completion, right? Not progress. What I mean by that, if I have to email all 50, marathons and ask them, hey, this is who I am. I'm paying for all these trips by myself. I'm self-funded. I'm wondering if there's a discount of some sort that you can give me on this marathon. If I'm sending out that email, which is a lot better phrase than that, trust me. If I'm sending that out constantly, once I've sent all 50 out, once I've booked all 50 marathons, I feel like I've done completion. Booking all the marathons, that's progress, right? That's a big step. But I got to break it down. It's like, can I do all that in one day? No. Or maybe I could send all of them in one day, all the emails, but can I book them all in one day? Does it make sense to do that? Schedule might change. I gotta say, okay, maybe the first 3 months of marathons, I gotta book those. And as long as I can do that portion of the work, that's a completion, right? Milestones instead of completions. You still want to complete work, but not the whole project. Break it down into smaller pieces. So it repeats. Come on, we keep going back to that. You got to break it down, atomic level. So then for you, you got to be okay with the fact that you're working for yourself, or at least you're trying to. When you're not at your job, you are working on things that are for you. Then you got to ask yourself, like, okay, well, are these things actually going to move me forward to where I want to go? But before you ask that question, you got to know, where do I want to go? Establish all these things, break it down into small pieces, and then now you have the confidence every single day when you take these actions, that your work is amounting to something. And that's probably one of the best feelings you can have. That's all we really want. We want forward progress towards a goal that we have in mind. Because when you work for a company, you're moving forward with that company towards their goal, but it's better, at least half the time when you're off of work, to have your own goal that you move towards, because then it's so much more rewarding. And that's all we need. It's just a rewarding life filled with progress towards things that we care about. That's it. Yeah. Why not us?